everyone. Welcome to the Holistic Birth Podcast, where we put the power in families' hands to have the safe, satisfying journey they deserve. My name is Allison.
And I'm Brigitte. We are two doulas who love bringing information along with inspiration to help you feel confident and powerful in your choices throughout the birthing year.
We cover all topics around pregnancy, birth, and beyond. We're so glad you're here.
Let's dive into this week's episode.
Welcome back to the Holistic Birth Podcast. This is episode 20, and it's our last episode of season 2. Can't believe we're here already.
I know, crazy. Time flies.
Yeah. Today we're going to kind of talk about a day in the life of a doula.
Yeah.
It'd be kind of helpful for you to get to know your hosts a little bit better and see what our day-to-day is like.
Yeah.
And it might be interesting for people who are curious about how the heck this is a profession and a career. What do you do, you know? So I'll help answer some questions or some curiosities you might have.
Yeah, definitely. So Allison, tell us about HBB, Holistic Birth and Beyond. So you have a doula agency.
Mm-hmm.
You also do placenta encapsulation.
Yes.
You're here at Wellness Village, so there's like other modalities that are here too. Tell us about like what you wake up on a Monday. You know, what's the first thing you do?
Mondays are my admin days.
Yeah.
Monday mornings, I do payroll for anything the week prior. So because I run a team, there's these contractors, these other doulas who are out there doing some great work with the community. So I make sure that they're getting paid, but also I invoice families for any care that was done. I typically do like check-ins with my own clients on Mondays if we haven't already been talking over the could be a too frequent check-in, so I might hold off, but I usually check in with clients on Mondays. I see how their weekend went, and then I reconcile my accounts. I make sure that all my programs are talking to each other properly and that they're being nice to each other and that they're all saying the same things. So there's some financing in that. So yeah, I'm on the payroll department. I'm the HR department. I'm the community outreach. We do a lot. We have a lot of times you don't expect to get into the business side of it when you're a doula. You are in the work because you're like, oh, I want to educate. I want to be there for people. I want to support. And we usually don't get into this because we are like, oh my gosh, I love marketing.
Yeah,
I
right.
love content writing.
No,
I
that's the least favorite of being. Yeah, we just want to be doulas. We want to support people and not have to worry about marketing and contracts and all that stuff. It does.
I'm
come
cool with
it
it now.
Yeah.
I think at first it was a
little daunting at first.
It was daunting at first, and I think I personally I just took my time. I'm a very type A, I like to be organized and prepared type of person.
Me too.
So any chance I get to really make sure that everything's solid before I launch or before I hit send, I try my best. But I think that's where some of my other like personality traits shine is I have the privilege of my control issues possibly coming out in making sure that I really like the way that email was written, or I really am making sure to follow up the way that with the frequency that I like to for any inquiries. But what do you do on a Monday?
Oh God. Well, I actually have 2 other jobs besides being a doula.
That's common. A lot of doulas do work other jobs.
Yeah. So hopefully eventually things will be at a point where I don't have to work those 2 other jobs. Although I do love one of my bosses very much. She's great. I mean, they're both fine, but there's one of them that I'm just particularly like, I don't ever want to leave working for you because she's just very nice to me. But anyway, so I do remote like administration work, with that. So that's something that kind of happens every day, but it doesn't take too much of my time. But honestly, the thing that I do the most is editing this podcast. So it's a little time consuming, but I'm getting, pretty good at it. So it's okay. Yeah. Kind of same thing as you, only, I kind of do my own admin work and just like checking in with clients and, making sure that emails have been sent and contracts have been signed and payments and all that kind of stuff. So it's pretty similar, only I just don't have like the payroll part of it. Yeah. Obviously. So kind of the boring stuff. I know.
I'm a productive morning person, and for
same.
some people they cringe at that, so I'm sorry if I text you at like 6:30 or 7 in the morning.
I do the same thing.
But my brain starts going fast. But
Yeah.
I know it's for a lot of doulas, we have some flexibility in our schedule with obviously being on call. We have to be flexible by default, but whether you're doing like postpartum work or you're having the other like aspects and components of doula work, there's a lot of flexibility. So we could meet someone in their home for a prenatal visit. We can meet them out for lunch. We could potentially like come do something in the evening for like a class where we're doing like a one-on-one thing. So we do have some flexibility. So I know for me, probably similar to you, every day is not the same.
No, it's not. It's super different every day. So I'm like, you asked me a question. I'm like, I don't know. Some Mondays look totally different. So it's just like all depends on what has unfolded over the weekend or whatever. But and it's funny because when I started like doing any sort of work or whatever, I was like, I am never getting a job where I have to work on the weekends. I don't care what it is. I'm not doing it. But that's out the window now. And I don't mind it. Like, I definitely, a lot of my clients can't meet until the weekends because they're working during the day or whatever. So,
and babies just decide to come whenever the heck they want.
Yeah. Babies are just like, I don't care what day and time of day it is or, what day of the week. So they come when they want.
Yeah.
But it's, I don't, it doesn't feel like work to me, honestly. Like I love doing this work and it's not something that I'm like dreading doing ever. So
Yeah, that's a good sign.
It is a good sign, because I do feel like a lot of doulas do get, kind of burnt out a bit, and that's why you started the agency, because you wanted to kind of help doulas, have that sustainability. So,
and truthfully, it was also something I needed at the time too. I could
exactly.
I could not sustain the client load that I was taking. I do have a hard time saying no, and I do want to show up for people, and so I was doing like 5, 6, sometimes 7 births a month plus postpartum care. That was
that's a lot.
Like, it wasn't sustainable. I did it as in it worked out. Like I was able to be everywhere, but I was definitely depleted. And any off time I had, I was mostly trying to reground or catch up on emails and making sure that things were going smoothly. So I needed to scale back myself, but that's something that doulas, you kind of learn over time is what kind of client load works best for you, so that you're able to commit yourself as best as you can to the clients that are on your roster, so to speak, who's on your calendar. And a lot of people, you might not just do birth doula work. Some people are also childbirth educators.
Exactly,
I know you do like vaginal steaming stuff. You do like homeopathy. You do closing of the bones, and you do all kinds of stuff
mother
too.
blessing and
So like every doula does have other things that they might do to kind of make themselves well-rounded in their own way for their own specialty or style. But continuing education is also another thing. I personally am always reading on like evidence-based birth, like their website or
doing lots of research. And I learn from my clients so much because everybody has different questions around things, and it's just like really cool to kind of dive in and like find information for them and like just learn things. So it's definitely cool. I am really big on learning things, and when I have a particular topic that I am like interested in, I dive like head first into it and I'm like immersed in it. Like, becoming a doula in itself was just like, I got very immersed in it, and I like just read the books constantly and, watched the videos and took the classes and like just dove headfirst into it, like get very passionate about things, which takes up a lot of time sometimes. And like, I do sometimes forget to like take care of myself. So that's like, a really important aspect of being a doula is self-care. So what kind of ways do you do self-care?
I think everyone does things differently for sure, but there's definitely a lot of being like holding space for people, a lot of being present, a lot of being plugged into your phone, trying to make sure that you're responding to anything that's urgent or emergent, or if it's not, you still want to be there for people. So it's I find that telling my clients I'm happy to text them anytime throughout the day until X amount of time at night, or obviously if it's emergent, text or call for sure. It's not that I'm not there, but if they're like, hey, like I have a quick question whenever you get a chance about how to swaddle, like a 9:00 at night text that just pops into their head. They just want to get the question out. They don't need the answer right now, and they don't expect it. But I think it's just for me being able to turn my brain off a little bit.
Have some boundaries.
Having some boundaries, and it does help with like having more like higher quality like family time. After a birth, I typically when I'm on that car ride home, most of the time it's silent in the car. I don't have any music playing. I don't have a podcast going. I really just, I roll down the windows if I need the fresh air to wake me up if I'm kind of going to be a little sleepy on the way home. I've like pulled over, or I've talked on the phone with my husband for an hour because that's the car ride length, and I just need someone to talk at me, so I'm listening and engaged so I can get home. But yeah, it's that decompressing time, making sure that everything that we witness is usually very vulnerable, very raw. And I'm comfortable in that place because I like the vulnerability. I like seeing people on deeper levels. And if we're only talking about the weather all day long, that actually exhausts me. So.
I know it is draining. It's just like, oh yeah.
Like
I don't really care about the weather.
It's just the surface stuff, and obviously that is always wonderful to layer in. It's fine, but I personally I love getting deep with my clients and getting deep with just the people in my life. So being able to sit in that is really special, and it comes easier. But obviously, there still needs to be time where you're kind of finding a moment to reset and kind of process whatever birth or postpartum thing that you witnessed. Sometimes it's really positive and you're just like, wow, like I'm so proud, they did so great. Not that I have any ownership on what they did, but like, I'm just so impressed, and having that kind of awe. So that sometimes is great. So I might cry about that on the way home, like, wow, that was she's so strong, or I love the way that the relationship between the partner and sometimes
it's beautiful to witness that.
You just like feel the like such transcendence in that relationship, and just being able to watch them find their power is really incredible.
Definitely.
And on the flip side, there are still some challenging things that
there is
come across.
It does. It definitely comes with the territory. We do see a lot of stuff that cannot be not so great. So I mean, we do our best to advocate for our clients and stuff, but sometimes stuff just happens, or it's not even that. It's more like just something, traumatic happens in birth, like there's something wrong with the baby, or, things just don't go as planned. And that can be hard because, I mean, it's an emotional thing for a lot of people, obviously. Again, it's a very vulnerable process. So, it's it can be, a lot for them to process, but we're holding so much space for them that you do take it on. It's hard not to take it on as a doula. So... but that's that's part of it, and we do love that about our work. And I just like you, I love being like in that vulnerable space with people. I'm like that with my friendships. I don't like surface level friendships. I love to really like dive deep with people and get vulnerable, and like it just creates that connection. I just love that like raw connection with people. It's just it's just so nice to connect with others like that.
And people, I think there are some doulas who are like, I love babies, and that's great. And there are some people who are like, oh my gosh, you're a doula, you must love babies. And it's true, we do love babies, of course. Who doesn't love a baby? But at the same time, I know some people that don't love babies, but true, that is very true. Yes, I don't want to assume,
but I don't talk to those people, so
they exist, they're out there, they're valid. But I think on the flip side, I know that some people just assume that we only like to hold babies or watch babies be born. Sometimes it's not even about looking at the baby be born. It's about like watching this person go through this transformation, finding their power, trying to figure out how to navigate everything that's been thrown their way, to see the connection between them and their partner. It's like there's a different level, and to be able to hold them rather than just hold babies is like is very important, because you deserve to be held.
Absolutely. And you're spending so much time getting to know these people, and like literally the most like life-changing event, so like it's there's really nothing out there like it, I feel like. Like it's just one of those things that, and I mean, being a doula is hard work, we're on call, we're up for days sometimes, but it's so worth it. It's really, really worth it. And I think where doulas have so much trouble with sustainability is because of, like you said, like kind of the back end of things, like having to do the marketing and the contracts and the payments and like that kind of stuff. And then, not doing the self-care, not setting boundaries, just getting burnt out. For me, like self-care is like just going for a hike, being in nature, just kind of clearing my head, being in the quiet, petting my dogs, you know. I have a homestead, so going out in my garden and just like poking around out there every morning when like the mornings are cool in the summertime. Like those are the little things that kind of like reset me so I can get back into the day and face whatever it is, whether good or bad, you know. Just because holding space for other people is, you know, it's a big deal. So
it's a big deal.
Yeah.
And it's helpful to find moments to reset so that it's almost like there's a clear slate going into the next client.
Yeah.
So like
just gonna say, yeah.
Sometimes like having even just prenatal visits when they're back to back, if I've got like 2 or 3 in one day and people are coming, I have like office space. So when people come and meet me here, sometimes it's like, we just unpacked so much with one client, or they just processed something from a previous birth, or they're kind of sharing like some crazy exciting things that are going on. Like that conversation can be so drastically different from the next person you meet with, that there does have to be a reset where you're now kind of like holding space. Like you're kind of open again to like what is this person going through today or currently in the moment.
It's important to take care of ourselves so that way we can be present and have the energy, the space. You know, we got to fill our cups up first before we can help others. So super important. So there's probably some doulas out there listening to this. If you are, you know, take note.
Care for yourself.
Yeah, definitely take note. Take care of yourself. So,
and I mean, the community of doulas, I think that is a day in the life of a doula. I also think of like when you're doulaing other doulas, or when you're there for
you
other
especially. You're so good at doulaing other doulas.
Thank you. But like we've talked about the sustainability of this. We've talked about like different ways to make, and truthfully, you really can't do this work alone.
No.
You can try.
Yeah.
But you're also risking like not being able to be there for your client and not having no one be able to solidly back you up.
Yep.
If you're sick and you were scheduled for a postpartum shift, then that's out the window, because maybe they're fine with it. I have a lot of clients who are like, we'll just switch to another day, no worries. But
they
were really
understanding,
really counting on your care, or it's an overnight, and that was the one overnight a week that they needed you for, and it was like, you know, they really were counting on it. Like it can feel hard to not be able to be there, and we try everything, we bust our butts to get to you, we do all the things, but we're also human, and if there's a medical emergency come up, if there's a death in the family, if there's another birth or something going on where you were required somewhere else first, then it can be very hard to feel like you're not sure about the support that then that person is getting. So that's why our community is so important. We've really, I think we have a good area for a lot of doulas that really care for each other, and for the families that their doula peers are caring for. We really help lift each other up, and
we do. Yeah.
I've had a lot of doulas call me. I've called a lot of doulas for like, I just need a process and kind of talk through something in this scenario where this kind of, you know, pause is happening in labor. Like we tried this, and this, like, are there any other ideas you can think of? Or I just was at this, like, you know, postpartum visit, and I was wondering, like, do you have any resources for, like, there's such good community and group thinking that can happen. And I know that you probably agree, but like it's always collaboration over competition.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, it's that's the one thing I love about this community. I've done a few things in my life. You know, I was a vet tech for a while. I did equine and canine massage, and there was always competition with other people. And in this community, there has been none of that. Like everybody is just like so helpful, and you just feel so fully supported. And it's just, everyone wants to connect and meet each other. And to be a doula, you have to have a sense of compassion and empathy and all of those things. Obviously, you know, if if you're getting into this, I would think you would have those traits anyway.
Usually that's the core building blocks.
Yeah, exactly. Because again, space holding, you have to like be very empathetic and compassionate, and open-minded too is another big thing. But yeah, so like it's been amazing, like just really connecting with everybody in the community. And you know, I can't say that it's the same way, because I mean, the birth community in general, there's a lot of opinions out there and a lot of thoughts on things, but I feel like because maybe it's not so intense with doulas is because we are like evidence-based more so. Like we definitely have our biases. Some doulas, you know, think that everyone should home birth, and some think that, you know, hospitals are great and that you shouldn't home birth because it's dangerous. I mean, everybody has their opinions on things, but instead of just like, you know, getting on each other or calling each other out for things. It's more of like, oh, okay, like we respect one another for our thoughts and our opinions on things. There's no like animosity for that, because like it's a high tension kind of community. Like a lot of people have a lot of strong feelings and thoughts around birth. So I think, especially with doulas, I think we just have an understanding, because we're like that with our clients. We're supporting them in all their decisions. We respect all their decisions, their opinions about things. Like, we're not there to judge them or make them feel bad about that, regardless of how we feel about it. So I think that we also support each other in that way. So,
and I do think we're very lucky. I think New Hampshire specifically, that's where we're located.
Yes.
We're very lucky with that kind of community. And I don't know about you, but I've heard some horror stories about other doula communities and how
I haven't heard anything bad yet. But again, I've just in New Hampshire.
Well, sometimes it's kind of cutthroat. Like, if there's only if you're in a small town and there's only like one other doula besides you are, in a way, they're kind of imagining like there's a competition because it's either you or me, right?
Yeah,
but
gotcha.
in my mind, like, you both probably have completely different styles or skill sets or things. Like, why not rely on the other for the like backup?
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
build that relationship that way. But there is a lot of I think it's hard because some people there's like a scarcity mentality when it comes to clients. I think that happens a lot when you're first starting out. You're like, I can't find anyone. I don't know how people would find me. I'm so wanting to do this, but I don't know how to be seen and be found and chosen.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
And then on the flip side, when people are really experienced, I see sometimes it's like I've been on the receiving end of this from like a newer doula to seasoned doula perspective, where there are people who come through and they're like, I love babies. Like, I would like to hold one. Do you have any like buddy I could shadow or something? It just sounds super superficial where they're like, in my mind, I'm like, I'm happy to help, but I need to know you're serious. I need to know you're serious. So like, if someone reaches out like you did and you were like, I've already taken the training, thanks for your resources, I've done what you said and then some, and I just like hit the ground running. Like, to me, I'm like, okay, she's serious. And now I'm like, let's go, but there are people who kind of are curious about the work. And then I've seen some like more seasoned doulas who kind of like shut it down a little. They're like, I'm not going to hand you all the answers that it took me years to figure out. So there's sometimes a little bit of like a dynamic there of like paying your dues, which I don't really agree with. The like, you should be charging like nothing. Like, some doulas start out and they
do
charge
free ones,
free birth. Like, they're just there's no cost. And I think if you're doing something scholarship based, or if it's you're trying to gain experience and there's kind of like an exchange that way that you're okay with, the client's okay with, that's one thing. But there are a lot of just like a lot of differing opinions still in the birth community.
Yeah, for sure.
I think there are people who say, this is my specialty, I will not take clients who don't fully support or agree with this. I've seen other doulas that I think it's maybe just the type of client they attract. They know that they can't use certain people as their backup. They would only use other people. But there's really, every doula is very different. All the specialties, the way that each person might kind of bring certain things to the table. There's really no shortage of people who are birthing that need support. Yeah. So you're probably going to be different than another doula, and that family is going to be different from another family. And it's just a matter of like, who's the best fit. That's why I love when I'm doing consultations for the agency, I love getting to the meat of it. Like, okay, what are you looking for in your doula? What is your past experience? What are you kind of hoping for this experience? What are some things you're worried about? I love asking if there's certain personality traits that really click well, because they could be the most experienced doula in the world and still not be a good personality fit for this client.
Yeah, right.
And on the flip side, you could be a brand new doula and that personality might be funny, or you might like be very calming. There might be something about you that this person was like, yes. So there is enough to go around. So using the community in a way that's going to help benefit everybody is like part of the day-to-day, because you're constantly networking and connecting and growing with each other, ideally. Yeah,
and definitely on the note of like experienced versus inexperienced doulas, I definitely, like, if you are searching for a doula, I would definitely suggest really considering a newer doula. There are, I understand why people want experience. Like, obviously you want to be with someone that's had like been present for births and like has the experience surrounding that. But with that being said, a newer doula will have a little more energy than some older doulas will be. I mean, some, you know, of course it depends on their client load, that kind of thing. But to be a good doula, it's not necessarily how many births you've been at. It's more of like your personality, how caring and empathetic you are, and how you're willing to show up for people, how attentive you are. So definitely give those like newer doulas a chance, because there's some really good newer doulas out there. Experienced ones are great too. Like, you know, like Allison said, everybody has their, you know, their different strengths and everything, and it's just finding the right fit for you. But you know, if you come across a doula that has like amazing personality, but they just don't have a ton of births under their belt, and they're just, you know, checking off all the boxes for you as far as personality and like what you're looking for and the kind of support you're looking for, like really give them a chance, because just because they haven't been to like that many births, you know, they've probably have at least one under their belt kind of thing. So just give them a chance, because they're definitely, you know, probably worth investing in. So and
I think sometimes when people want experience, they are hoping for someone who's confident and resourceful. And it might not even be an X amount of births. Like truthfully, you could be at 5 births and they could have gone similar. Every birth is very different, but you could have seen like the same amount of level for like pain relief kind of options, for like comfort strategies. You could have seen the same amount of like partner involvement or different things that might be coming up. You could have also been at 3 births and each one was drastically different, where different things were used, different settings. Like every birth does teach you something new. I'm 6 years in, and every birth still is like, well, geez, that was a whole little twist I was not expecting. They're so different. So just because someone has a lot of experience doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to give you what you emotionally and physically and mentally need the same exact way. Right. So I always think it's great to think about like, what are your values about birth? And then does that doula share similar values? Yes, we will, my bias is we should support you unconditionally, of course, despite our own biases. But if there are doulas who are more experienced or more passionate about one thing or another, if you can find that doula that has a strong overlap with what you care about, then that's great.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So other things in the life of a doula, lots of texting.
Yeah, there's lots of texting.
Lots of driving.
Lots of driving, texting. Yeah. Like you go pick up placentas and what else do you do? Oh my God, you do everything. Oh, you hold like support groups, which I actually help with too. So I've done support groups. I'm trying to think of what else. I feel like
social media is
social
another
media.
Thing.
Yeah.
I have a love-hate relationship
Me
with
too.
social media.
Me too.
Because it's such a great way for people to kind of know more about this person that they might be working with. Or if they are working with this doula, it's nice to be able to see like different information pieces or personality things. You can kind of, you know, build a little bit better of like a understanding of some of your options or who you're working with. But, it is a lot of work on the back end, because you're trying to figure out what do people want to know about right now?
Right.
What's my capacity level for consistency, because that's important to people.
Yep.
And But I think it's kind of fun.
Yeah.
Sometimes
totally is fun. Yeah.
I think it's more like I want to make sure I'm consistent. And so
that can be hard sometimes. Just trying to squeeze it in there somewhere.
And there's different trends. So you could have 2 weeks scheduled out for different things, and then all of a sudden this trend comes in. You're like, okay, I have to roll with it because it's interesting. But at the same time, you could be your own person where you're like, you know, F that, I'm not hopping on the trend. Like I'm just gonna roll with what I have scheduled, and that's okay too. But I think you do get a good sense of someone's personality through social media. So
definitely.
Or if they're not on social media, maybe that does resonate with you too.
Some doulas aren't even on there, and they have perfectly successful, so they don't necessarily need to be on there or anything. But
I think we will also send clients throughout the week. I feel like I'm always assessing like which clients are how many weeks along and when should I send them certain information. I think sometimes people rely on their doula for, you know, like regular tidbits of information. If that's something you want, you can always ask your doula, can you send me something that might be relevant, you know, during different times or whatever. But and some doulas, they're only like, they're there for when you have questions. They're not going to like put information in your ear or in your inbox if like you weren't
Right.
wanting it.
Yeah.
So there's different styles with that, but I know like different communications and yeah.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for watching and listening and joining us for our second season. We're really excited to get into season 3. If you have any questions for us, let us know, and we will see you in season 3.
Sounds good.
All
See you
right.
later.
Bye.
Bye. That's it for this topic. Thanks for tuning in. Check out the show notes for any resources or links that we mentioned today. Make sure to subscribe and follow us on your preferred podcast platform, and also be sure to give us a review.
It really helps us grow and reach more people who could benefit from this info. Also, check us out on YouTube and visit our blog where we have this podcast transcribed for you.
We'd love to connect over social media too, and we're just an email away if you have any questions or if you want to request a topic to be covered.
We hope this helps your mind, body, and soul in having the supported and holistic journey you are so deserving of. Embrace the power within you.